Hello, everyone. And I'm not sure if I can reproduce Dalton's wording exactly as he does it every time. This is the Ubuntu Live UBports Live Q&A, number 40, on the wonderful 10th of November 2018. And with me are, of course, you can see in the background already, Marius.
Hello.
And you know my name, Florian. And so Dalton is not here today. You're going to miss that one. It will be fun. But here you can see another one. We have a live guest today. This is Jonathan.
Hello.
Yes, we will talk with him a little bit later about interesting facts and news from things like the Telegram development for a new app. But first, we're going to cover our news section. And there is quite some news. And then, of course, we have a lot of questions again. It seems that they're getting more and more questions every week. So let's see. I hope we can answer them all this week. Good. Yeah, I think we should drop maybe one note in the supergroup that everybody can know we have started. You can do that maybe?
I was doing that already.
Okay, perfect. Then I can start with the first news item. So some people might have already seen we have started to add stuff on GitLab. We created an organization there. And we also started to play around now with actually moving code on GitLab. So thanks to Brian, the calculator app is the first core app that is actually moved over to GitLab into a new repository. And what we're going to do there is also we have the integration then with the translations. And we're also going to automatically deploy from there. So the interesting thing is that GitLab will help us much more with the continuous integration with the automated builds than we can do this on GitHub. So yes, cool. We will play around with that. And in the future, when you get an update for a calculator app, it might be one that was already built on GitLab. Hooray! Very nice. Yeah. So that to a little bit limit the expectations, we are not going tomorrow to move all the 400 repositories on GitLab and say bye-bye to GitHub. We will still need to continue a little bit on that one. But of course, we need to prepare when we really want to move more stuff. We need to test everything, how we're going to do it. And so we are starting with the things that don't hurt much. And these are the small apps that are not so complicated, where we have easy possibilities to check it out. And yeah, but it seems to be already very successful. So you could theoretically also find it, but I'm not quite sure if it's already public. So I shut my mouth because I'm not going to send people over to search whole GitLab for the app. When it's ready, then we will probably also post some redirect information about where you can find the new places, just in case you want to contribute. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Brian, for investigating and for working there on the various stuff like the pipelines. I can see already here he had 8 times built with the GitLab infrastructure. And yeah, it's really nice to use their build power for our purpose. Many thanks also to GitLab, of course. We will come to that later when I can drop again some words about Telegram. So that was the calculator app news.
Yep.
You can cross over to the next news item, Marius.
Yeah, I will talk a little bit about the new Morph browser and Qt Web Engine improvements that have been happening since last time. So a lot of improvements has gone into the Morph browser, both since and after the release. And I have to give a big thanks to Chris Scheim and the other contributors to the Morph browser for their amount of work they dedicate to this project. It's quite awesome to see how quickly we are able to actually move over and take all the components from us and to switch out Oxide to a completely new base. Even though it's quite similar, it's still a big jump for us. We also have improvements on the Qt Web Engine side. Like, for example, we have disabled the GPU by default because of some like system-wide, instead of app developers have to disable it themselves. This is something we will enable once that's actually working with Mir. Right now, it doesn't work quite well with Mir. It still needs some work to have the GPU acceleration. But Oxide didn't have GPU acceleration either, so we don't lose anything. And also, the headers are now being built normally as they should, so app developers also can take use Qt Web Engine more efficiently and use the raw C++ power of it. That's also all in the Devil channel. All the landings from Morph that I talked about to Qt Web Engine should all be there if you want to try it out, or if you are an app developer want to hack on Qt Web Engine and make something cool. Yeah, it's all there. So Florian, documentation.
Yes. So while Dalton is not here, he wanted us to mention two major improvements on the documentation, where we again think that it needs a lot of love. For the system software development documentation, there is a huge pull request open now on GitHub, which is still being reviewed. But basically, we change now the sections in the documentation on the docs.ubports.com website. The chapter will be called development, not app development. And we will also start documenting system software development inside this section. So it's a kind of a rework, but it will also contain information about building with cross-builder, some updates there. And yeah, so trying to get it a little bit more structured and accessible for people that want to contribute. Also not only to the apps, but also to the system, because it's really time to get here more insights. And now that we spent some year or so with the system focusing on development or by our own, we try to share our experiences and the things that we found. There are also some new guides for app development, where we have now added some guides for the Content Hub and this URL dispatcher. This will affect all app developers that want to share information between their app and other apps. So this is also just being prepared, or it's actually finished preparation. Will be merged soon. And then there are really some cool improvements on the docs.ubports.com page. So maybe if you want to check this out, give it a few more days until we got it ready and we updated everything there. Then should be ready, let's say, by middle of next week or so. Yeah. So, and also thanks for the contributions to translations there. So this is also, of course, ongoing effort. Also, if you want to translate a new part of these documentations, we are happy to, if you do that. This will also go live in the translate.ubports.com translation service, where these new sections will be translatable for various languages. Okay, so documentation, yeah. And then we come already to some nice hardware stuff. Marius is already excited to talk about low-level hardware, maybe.
I guess I will take the first one first, which are not that fun, I guess. But that's the Nexus 5 and Treble with camera. So Nexus 5, as we all know, has some issues with camera. These issues are deeper than what we thought, and we are evaluating how we should do this, if we should wait until we operate to something I will talk about right after this, or if we should actually pour in effort to fix it. This is something we need to really look into also, and if we can make some temporary solutions for it without needing to do major reworking before we use the different solution, like I will talk about right now. So the different solution, which I've been seeing people talk about in the live chat already, is Project Treble. Project Treble from Android is a way to standardize the hardware interface, where you have one vendor partition, which is API stable and API stable with the rest of the system. This means that we can utilize this without needing the Android layer on top of it. We can directly utilize this from the GNU Linux side, since everything goes through a binder, a messaging protocol, instead of directly connecting in C++. meaning we don't need Bionic binders and libhybris binders. Although there are some libraries that still need it, like graphics, for example, but those are already working really nicely, so I don't expect that to be a huge problem. So this last weeks or so, we have gone through some experience with Treble. I made something called Linux HEDL, which means Hardware Interface Definition Layer, which is Android's version of making automatic C++ files which talks through the binder to the hardware interface. And we already got to a point where we have Viber working, which might not sound really cool to have just a vibrator, but it's really cool that all runs on the Ubuntu side instead of needing to go to libhybris and have a LXC container running there. So it only has this kind of a service file or a service that then connects starts the different kind of a server on the vendor side, and then you have the clients requesting the server through the binder. It's all really complicated stuff. You can read about it more on Android's Treble pages, but all in all, what it means that you can have one root file system that truly works on all devices and newer devices. Just switch it over and rebuild the kernel, and everything should work. Kind of like it works on desktop, which is really cool.
So I think some people were already lost when you started to explain the first things, because it's really something that nobody has ever looked into. So as a summary, is this something you can compare with, let's say, a dbus call on the system level to say, okay, you want to access this or that hardware, and then the other side would reply, okay, here you are, and this is your data, or something like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty not quite similar, but actually quite similar to dbus in that way. It just happens in kernel.
Okay, cool. I mean, we heard a lot, or people were already mentioning Treble for a long time. So maybe we're open here a small gap for experiments. Would be cool to see what that will mean. Yeah, there was a question regarding that. We take this maybe immediately, and the question is very easy. Will Project Treble be utilized to UBports? So the answer is maybe, huh? We don't know yet, but cool. Okay, so then I would say, because this is the end of our news block, we can start with Jonathan talking a little bit about what's going on there in southern Germany. And actually, you aren't even from southern Germany directly.
No. No, I'm from Eastern Germany, from Weimar, Thüringen.
Okay, cool. So somehow Germany is everywhere in Germany. So maybe for the people that don't know German so much, it doesn't matter where he comes from. It's just a matter of what he does. You're besides contributing to UBports now, especially with this Telegram effort that we made together, you're basically also doing other stuff for Ubuntu, right?
Yeah. Well, I do a lot of stuff, but not that big stuff. I just started translating documentation. I do write new articles, blog posts in German platforms, Linux platforms, and I look into fixing bugs where system components can't be built, and I just want to make them. You make developers be able to build them again, and just all these little things that cross my road. I try to hunt them down.
Very cool, very cool. Because I did not really follow in the beginning. How did this initiative start? There was one meeting with other people in Germany, right? Where you started to work together or do some stuff. That was before summer, I think.
Yeah, I think it was in March.
Even that long ago. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, some guy from Munich that's not even anymore active in this group just said, hey, let's make a UT workshop here in Munich, and worked on something together. And I think when I just made a post on the German platform telling people about this, I told people like it's a community meetup. So a lot of people showed up that have not been developers. So it was not really a workshop or developing thing. But some developers came there from southern Germany, from Stuttgart, and from different places. And this was the start, the real start. And Jan have been there already. Have been there too, for example.
So it was a networking. It was more a networking, or let's say appointment, or how to say meeting.
Yeah,
but it seems to be very successful, because then now months later. So first of all, I remember something. Who did the thing with the Raspberry Pi? Who started that? Was it also from that group?
Yeah, kind of. Actually, we first started doing some things with Mycroft.
Maybe the Mycroft thing. Yes.
Yeah. What happened next basically was I think I invited the guys that have been there, like Johannes and Tim, basically, to my place and said, "Hey, let's develop something." I was open to whatever. Yeah? So Johannes came up with the idea of, "Hey, let's try Mycroft for Ubuntu Touch," and that was what we did there the weekend at my place, and then there was this idea, I think, of Raspberry Pi 2 already at that meeting. And a lot of people have been asking in the community, hey, can't we build our own phones using Raspberry Pi? And basically what I did then was like, let's start a group for Raspberry Pi and let's see if people can work together there. For now, nothing has happened actually, as discussion, but maybe something will happen. So I
hope really there will be some result for the Raspberry Pi, because for us it's also something like, okay, this is a non-Android hardware. This is a very interesting project, and that could drag a lot of attention towards the community. So I don't want to pressure you guys, but hopefully there will be something. No, please take your time. Take your time.
Yeah.
That's clear. Okay, so it seems to be that you really have the openness to develop on any stuff, because what came next was an idea to help out with Telegram app, which is neither connected to Mycroft nor to Raspberry, saying that Mycroft and Raspberry are somehow related with being something for small devices that does stuff. Yeah. So, but Telegram is just Telegram. Yeah. And then when I got the full attention, of course, because that's basically my area of business here, my lonesome journey finally over, because there were people that were interested to help with the new Telegram app being ported over to TD-lib. Now, for the people that don't listen regularly or did miss out the last Q&A, Telegram app has a lot of issues, the old app, and we are trying to fix this now. And luckily, Telegram itself came up with a library that allows to really access all the functions without implementing the low-level transport and protocol stuff. So with that lib, it's super easy now to create a good working Telegram app that's very stable. But of course, it's much easier for me when there are a lot of helping hands. And then we started to talk about to make a workshop in Vienna, which was very nice, because I did not suggest it. It was more or less like, hey, let's go to Florian. He's the maintainer of the Telegram app. Let's go to Vienna,
It's basically it's been like that, Yeah, we have just, like with the Mycroft app, there are some issues that's not easy to fix. And some issues like, do you really want to have a device that's listening all the time? And then we maybe would need a hardware button to enable, disable this. And it's not such an easy thing, this Mycroft stuff. And we thought, hey, there's another thing that needs more attention than Mycroft on UBports and the Ubuntu Touch. And I think Johannes came up with the idea of helping doing this Telegram stuff.
Yeah, it was super awesome, because the promise was delivered. Suddenly there were 10 people sitting with me in Vienna, and we were hacking for 1.5 days, including some socializing on this app, and we made a great progress. Because basically now, when you look at the latest builds, it's already somehow usable, minus that you cannot add new people or you cannot create new groups, and the management functions are missing. But the messaging is really great already. So yeah, a big thank you on behalf of all of you that you established all this communication and made this event happen. I did not organize anything. They looked up their own hotels and hostels and stuff in Vienna. I said, I don't know where to sleep in Vienna. I'm sleeping in my own apartment. I cannot help anybody with a hotel recommendation. So super awesome self-organizing group of people came here. Yeah, very cool. So I mean, how happy are you with that yourself? I'm just giving no praising here, but let's hear from you.
Yeah, I found it amazing too, the group of people, and there have been really some people very skilled and experienced with Qt and development. For me personally, I've been a little bit how to say, not frustrated, but a little bit. I expected to give more to this, and then I realized I don't know anything about Qt. I know C++, but not Qt, and it was not so easy for me to get into. But I'm still working on it, and it's going to be good.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So the future is bright, I would say. So I hope we see more and hear more of you guys. There is already something in the works, but I should not speak about this too much. But there will be another hackathon, when we call it hackathon, beginning of next year, maybe, or in spring. So super excited that there will be more stuff going on. I mean, I'm keen to say, if anybody has a live stream question regarding that, you can post it now on our YouTube live chat, of course. I did not look into the forum now anymore. Or in Telegram, of course. You can also post any question. We are trying to listen to it. Be a little bit patient if you don't pick it up immediately. Question: does Jonathan have Telegram? That's a good question.
I do.
No, he develops Telegram without having an account.
Yeah.
That's the spirit, yeah.
Yeah, my username is Johnny, so you can find me on Telegram.
Yeah, it's already answered in the supergroup. Perfect. Now you will get rained with lot of praise and
praise Johnny.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So anything else what you can think about? Now is your chance to speak in front of our audience about whatever you wanted to say. Actually, maybe ask you one thing. What is your main motivation for Ubuntu Touch? Because you asked me more or less the same in our interview, a little bit, yeah, how you came to the project. Now I can ask you, re-ask you.
I really don't like the way the big companies like Google are trading user data. And that's why I have not used a smartphone for quite a while, until someone gave me just one. And I said, okay, no, I have one, and I started using it. But someday, last year, my brother gave me his old Fairphone 2, which was kind of broken, and I repaired it, and I found out, oh, Ubuntu Touch runs on this. And I've always been using Ubuntu on my computer since I've been 14. And so I said, hey, it's cool to have it on the phone too. So, and then I started looking into the project, watching these Q&As. So they could maybe use some help, and I thought, hey, it's cool to help. And, I started getting into the community.
That is super exciting. I mean, it's not only now Mario's fixed the Fairphone, also Johnny fixed the Fairphone. Now we have a second meme for this. Perfect. I will call Wayne. He will ask you for a sound sample to make a new rap song with that. Yeah, Johnny fixed the Fairphone.
And that's the hardware side.
Sorry, that's a running gag for some time now.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, exactly that answer is also exactly why I really started this project in one place, is because there was no alternative at that point. Like, there was Ubuntu Touch, but there was no, like, it was a porting community in the beginning, and I wanted to spread that out because of exactly what he's saying, because there was the only alternative actually to like a big company phone. Like, both Google and iOS are both huge companies, and you know how they treat data. Of course, you had Sailfish, but that was not fully open source. That didn't fit me. So yeah, it's quite awesome actually to hear that that's attracting people
Yes.
in a way.
Definitely is. Yeah.
Very nice. And we have 60 live viewers. This is, I think, a new record nearly. I don't remember to have 60 for a long time at least. We always had around, as I still looked, so around 20, 30, maybe a little bit more. 60 live viewers. Hello, live viewers. Everybody else can watch it later, but it's not needed to say it here, because if you say it here, they cannot hear it later. I'm talking myself into trouble. Okay. So, Johnny, for the moment, thank you. You can stay with us, of course, if you like. Yeah. Then we will continue a little bit, because we got a lot of questions, and some of them might need a few more words than yes or no, or we don't know, yeah? Which is also a valid answer here sometimes.
There's a question in the live chat that fits into the Telegram thing. Someone asked, Jay Wood asked, will a beta of Telegram be published to the store soon so user testing can take place?
Yeah, it's a good question. I was thinking about already publishing beta on open store, but we have to set up for a few things. The first one is we need to find a final name for it. So again, I just repeat myself a little bit. We are not allowed to call it Telegram, just Telegram as a word, because this is official, could be mistaken with the official apps. And Telegram put a block on that, specifically in their terms of service, that when we are using their API with a new third-party client, it should not be named Telegram. It should also not have the same logo, but it can be similar, of course. So we will find a new name. Then we can push it into OpenStore, because I don't want to change the name after it has been released on OpenStore. It should be the final one that everybody can find it, and then it will stick. And Florigram, yeah, thank you. No, it will not be Florigram. There were a lot of ideas. We had a brainstorming session months ago already, because the problem haunts us. But unfortunately, PA Pet has deleted our pet for that, so we lost a lot of nice ideas. Maybe we'll make a poll, maybe not, because when we had so many candidates already, it's hard to select between 30 or 20 different ideas. So forgive us if it's an internal team choice. It can also be that just the team selects. But now I see again in the supergroup coming up some ideas. Let's see. So the new name is the first thing, but I think we can finish it by, let's say, beginning of December. That should be enough, I think. So in a few weeks, we should be able to push a beta to the open store. Meanwhile, you can still use the click package that's available. And I can, no, I cannot look into the supergroup. I can, want to call it Teletubbies, which actually is cute, but I think then we get another problem with the copyright holders. Teletubbies, no. What I wanted to say is, because our GitLab CI is building the click package now already, also for this core app, we have currently under my account, but there will be a full-blown UBports project for this new Telegram app as well. I will drop a link to the download or to the nightly builds for the Telegram, so you can install the beta version from there. And from time to time, I post it then also in a supergroup. So just follow us properly. Maybe also in the forum I could drop it. If you follow us closely, then you will get noted that there is a beta version somewhere. But latest maybe in December in the open store. Let's cross the fingers. Okay, cool. This was a good question before the next questions. Now we really have to take up a little bit speed. So no more Telegram for today. There is now the usual break for our sponsors, because we finally got a lot of nice sponsors. Marius, do you want to take the patrons? Because this is more like your original sponsor thingy.
Yeah, I really have to thank people on Patreon, everyone on Patreon, especially Darko Blake, Morgan Macmillan, Toraf Sun. And sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly, but names are hard. But anyway, thank you a lot for your support. It really makes all this possible. It makes hire full-time developers, both me and Dalton. It also helps with keeping everything up and running, and keeping servers up, and keeping the infrastructure up, and new devices, and all that things that comes with a project. So thanks you a lot for your Patreon support. And if you want to be a patron, there will be a link below, or you can go to UBports.com/donate. You want to take the other sponsor, Flo?
Sure, I can. Thanks to our company sponsors, or let's say, how to say, institutional funds. There is Smooth, Private Internet Access, DigitalOcean, and Scaleway. And by the way, are the guys from Packet.net? Are they Scaleway, or is this another one?
Oh, Packet.net. Packet.net also. That's or works on ARM. I think that's
works on ARM. Yeah. These are the really great entrepreneurs that are believing in us from a let's say commercial side. Yeah, it's not only private sponsors that we have. They are really doing a great job and helping us, especially with infrastructure and stuff. If you wanted to do some support for us, you can go on ubports.com/donate, and there are the various options for donations at the moment. So cool. A deep breath before this large block of questions. Well, already the first one we could talk an hour about. I took it in from the last Q&A where we didn't finish, despite it was not such a long block of news. We already had a long block of questions there. So sorry for the others to wait, but this question is from the last Q&A from L. Punkt. L. Punkt sounds also a little bit German. I don't know. Maybe L. Punkt. He wants to know a little bit what are our midterm and long-term goals. Where do you see yourselves in the project in a year from now? Interesting question. I never thought about this. What's in a year? That can happen so much. Okay, one thing that is clear, in a year, for sure, we will have the foundation. I'm now really positive. This is not going to take in one more year on top. So when we have the foundation, we are a legal body. We can start acting a little bit more officially. So I would say in that way that we can really push more marketing stuff. We can give out more, I would say something like bounties to freelancers to develop this or that thingy based on the donations that we have. We can really start managing the foundation as we want to be it. Yeah? We will hopefully have set up all the functions then that we have ahead of everything for our steering committees and stuff. Yeah, and then we will be heading for the next LTS already, because it might make sense. We will prepare a lot of stuff for 1804 LTS, maybe end of next year, not beginning of, in 1 year. So I see ourselves in 1 year already thinking about 1804. Okay, that's my comment for that. To keep it short.
Yeah, and I think also what Flo answered there about 1804, even though it's not an official goal that we want to set a date on, this is always something we can experiment with, and maybe someone in the community want to experiment with. So there's always possibility to set up experiments like that. That's not like in a timeline in some way, because the thing with development and open source community, you don't really know how many developers will come in or leave in a year's time, I guess. And that's also kind of the problem with having bigger long-term goals. But of course you can have broader ones, but more like compact. This is going to be done by that time. It's really hard to do actually with limited amount of knowledge of the future.
Okay, Johnny, any comment about what's in 1 year? Maybe for you personal only, or for the project? What do you want to drop here?
I think in 1 year there will be regular Southern Germany meetups building cool stuff.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
I guess I can intervene. What I think will happen. I think that's what the question says. I didn't read it properly, but what I think will happen in a year. I'm always optimistic, but I see fully working more devices working on Treble, Holium project taking off. I see more native devices that's running in the bare kernel without the Android layer thingy, and I see Unity 8 on desktop.
Yes, this we forgot completely. Unity 8 on desktop is for sure a goal. And it would be cool because the more people can use it on desktop, the more people can be interested in the phone as well. Hopefully.
Definitely.
Oh, he has a second small follow-up to this. He was asking, because he remembers correctly, we have 1.5 full-time developers at the moment. Granted, the community stays active and the project flourishes. If we have any clue how many full-time developers it would need in the long run to sustain a mobile operating system? What is the order of magnitude? This is a real good question. I mean, I'm a technical guy. I'm not so much into management and marketing and resource planning, but I think to sustain a mobile operating system, we can still take in a few people.
Yeah, if you want to compare it to some of the bigger one like Android and iOS, they would argue that you need thousands of developers. But I don't believe so. I believe we can clearly make this as a community project, and how I want it to be is that instead of having like one organization hiring all the developers and doing all the work, I really want to see the community coming together. In a community, I don't only mean like sole per private developers in one way. I also want to see other companies coming in with their developer powers and not where we have, let's say, hardware manufacturers coming in with developers. Something, a community along those lines, like the other communities around, like Linux Foundation, even though that's incredibly huge. But something along those lines is what I really want to see, a purely community-driven, where you don't have one body in control over how things will go, where you have multiple people giving their input. You have a community which builds the project to how everyone wants it to be. I think that's what the baseline comes down to, not what one company or what makes more money, but what people and consumer wants. I think that's the goal in the long run. But also, how many developers we need is a extremely hard question. It really depends on how far you want us to go. Of course, 1.5 developers can sustain security updates and those kind of fix it. But if you also want to have new improvements, you want to add Treble, more devices, I would like 10 developers, full-time developers. We would be flying.
I think that's a good thing to size it around that for the core and for the things that we must take on our shoulders. But everything else, as you said, community doesn't only mean private persons that do the stuff in a free time. Community can be contributions from commercial partners and companies in their own interest. Because when we get really a hardware partner on board that wants to sell his hardware, then of course it would be great if he can also include some of his developers in pushing us with the software. So this is a win-win situation, of course. So communities really think it great, think it big, or expand the limits of just, okay, this is us and the Southern German developers. I mean, there can be more, and we cannot hire everyone because also this community is now spread all over the planet, and it's really hard without establishing in the first place just one company that would host and pay all the people. We don't want to be concentrated just in one place. it should be something that is across the borders and across the different countries. So the better way is to make from our side clear what's possible and where we want to go, and to really motivate people and companies to contribute in whatever way that could be. And because, of course, Rodney mentioned that it's not possible to do everything what everybody wants, but this is the good thing about communities. You can discuss it and find a compromise that everybody is going well with. And you have to be a little bit of a community person, of course. Not all people are compatible with that, but many are. Okay, cool. This was the first questions from L. And now we come to a little bit more easier things, because vision is always hard, especially live, if you're not preparing a mission statement or so. We are doing this all live, no preparations, I swear.
And also, it's really hard to estimate when the technology and the OS and the community is moving so fast and rapidly. There's so much changing and so much technology, new stuff coming in, new devices, new people, new software, and to really plan ahead, like long time ahead. Of course, you can have a broad idea what we want, but say, like for example, we want to base on Android 7 or Android, we already do, but Android 8 in the next few months. We don't really know what happens. Like next month, they might come up with a new Project Treble thing, and the whole idea just breaks down and comes a new idea. So yeah, it's hard when stuff is moving quickly.
Okay, but we will stay hard on following the stuff that will come, because we are all interested in new stuff.
Yeah.
So LibreMax wants to know if we can translate the UBports.com blogs. Would it be possible to include the needed strings in translate UBports.com? Well, I must say, I think the idea for a whole blog post to be translated, it would be better when we don't put this on a weblet, because it's really, if you have a huge paragraph to translate and then you have a lot of strings split up, it's not so easy to translate it than it would be as a whole. I would say we think about this idea, but we would then rather hand out the whole text of the blog post and invite people to translate it to the language. And then we can merge it probably inside, but not going via the translation server. So for me, the translation server is something that is good for small strings, for maybe some small paragraphs, and for the web page, we need it also somehow, but the web page is rather static. I don't want to have the situation that a blog post, for example, is only half translated, because some people translated 5 strings and the rest is untranslated. Then you have a mixture of English and native language that doesn't make really much sense. And translate UBports.com will always break up longer things because it depends on the export from our content management system, and it can happen that this breaks it up in more than one translation unit. So as long as the whole translation unit is not, if the whole blog post is not one translation unit, it could happen that we are getting very asynchronous. So LibreMax, if we want to translate something for the blogs, just give us a ping or so, and we will try to set up something here. But I don't see it on translateUBports.com at the moment. Okay, next one, Donix. Is there some recent bug or update that web app developers should deal with? That he were hearing about, that people were saying that web apps started to half open in the browser. And then connected with that, what are good steps, advices to follow for app developers to take care of the oxide deprecation? And then they posted a forum link. Yeah. Is there what is the main concern for web app developers with the new browser?
So the web app developers, if you use the standard containers, there shouldn't be much necessary to change, since that will all handled by the Morph container stuff. But if you have more intricate stuff that uses oxide directly, for example, you would need to do some magic to get it up and running. We will have up some more documentation on how to do it. But I think for right now, the best place is actually to use the documentation from Qt on Qt Web Engine, and also look into to morph.web, which is a wrapper around user agent, for example, to get the scaling correctly, and some other stuff that it provides to be able to more efficiently work on a converged display / mobile / phone / desktop, and that's the whole reason behind that library in the first place. But there will be more documentation on this once we come to a point where we are satisfied with the Morph browser, and we are ready to set a date on deprecation of Oxide. Right now, we don't really have a date on deprecation because we don't have everything ready to handle that just yet. We have other components inside Ubuntu Touch that also depend on Oxide, and we also have many apps, and not many, I don't know how many, but we have some apps that depend on Oxide that we also need to look into and see how many is actually depending on them, and maybe contact the developers to say to help them out, or to ask if there is any missing APIs, for example, that we will need to create a shim for.
Okay, very nice. Then here's a short question: if there is any news on Unity 8 on x86 or desktop or Intel? Well,
the thing with that is that we also are waiting that until we start moving things to Senior also, and moving things like the newest Unity 8 to phones, so we get a more synchronized working. Right now we are really far behind on the phones, and then we have a different version on desktop, and working like that, it makes stuff hard, and that's why we have awaited that until we get to a point where the phone and desktop are equal, and we can actually efficiently work on both platforms as a one entity, and that's also coming along with moving stuff into Debian, and moving to other distros, and getting a proper upstream repos. And this is also tying together with moving to GitLab, since we want to have a proper branch structure, we want to have proper packaging for upstream, and to have proper versioning, and all that. That's still a question mark right now on GitHub. And that's also why that has been awaiting. But all in all, we also have Rodney working on a bunch of stuff on Unity 8. So it's not completely silent. Rodney has done great work on it. And he also been trying on senior branch, he said here. So yeah, thanks. Praise Rodney. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff that needs to be worked on the desktop, like for example X11, and those are things that we are waiting for upstream mirror again, and there is a lot of moving parts there too. A lot of the underlying things are getting fixed, but we also have Rodney making progress on it. So it's not completely silent there, but it's still not usable for desktop anytime soon.
Okay, there are just overlooked. This was my fault. There are just another 2 questions for the Morph browser, but I will group them together. So we'll leave currently for another 1 question or 1 remark from Donix, because this is a very important one. He thinks apparently there is some GitHub cleanup going on. Yes, it's true. We try to look through old pull requests and old issues and try to get a little bit rid of things that are not reproducible anymore or that are invalid. He wants us to make a call to arms or a shout out that people should check their old issues and also their old pull requests. And I think it's a great idea. So we mention it here. If you have ever filed issues a long time ago, maybe on our issue tracker, and you maybe totally forgot about it, or pull requests that are still pending, maybe you can look for your items and see for the issues, if they are still reproducible on the latest RC or Devil builds. If not, you can please close the issue. Then we have a lot less to do with that. And also for the pull requests, if you have open pull requests, check please if they are still mergeable or they're conflicting or you need to rebase, and if they are still valid in terms of if this function is or if the patch is still needed, or if something else is going on. Some of the pull requests were made very early. We might have overlooked a few of them. So we want really to get rid of old stuff, also because we need to prepare a little bit for the GitLab situation. We cannot just take over everything, and we should not take over things that are not relevant anymore. Thanks, Donix, for this advice. Check your bugs. Okay, should we jump back to Morph browser to confuse our people? Yes, I think so, because it makes more sense. There's one question: if there are any advances, means any progress in relation to Widevine for the Morph browser. So for other people that don't know, Widevine is the content, how is this called? Not content scrambling, come on, don't let me down now. Yes.
Content delivery network. Well, I don't know.
No, it's basically about things like Netflix,
DRM.
or Amazon.com, DRM. Yeah, digital rights management module.
Yes.
Which is more or less standard now. And so the question is if this will come to Morph browser. Well, good idea. I have no idea what's the prerequisites for it, to be honest.
Well, the thing with Widevine is that Google just made it incredibly hard to get it working on ARM, since they don't provide any ARM binaries except for Chromebooks, but they are a little bit special. And on Android, it's completely baked into the Android system, so that's no possible to use. So it's basically blame Google, because currently Qt has all that working for X11, but when it comes to ARM, Google is like, let's not provide that, because then some reason. But I don't like Widevine at all, but I can understand it's needed for Netflix and stuff. But I have been trying hard to get it working, but it's just blame Google. I will get back to it and maybe hack some more on it, but
boo Google, don't waste your precious time with it.
Yeah, that's why I haven't.
Okay, no, I think it's not a priority for us, really not. As I can see also from let's say discussions, it's very much a dispute if a free and open operating system needs that. On the other hand, of course, there are a lot of people outside nowadays that are using those services for whatever their reason, and I could understand, especially for the tablets, let's say, that it would be cool if it works. Not saying that's a needed functionality, but yeah. Okay.
Well, then, I just wanted to have a quick one. The other DRM is actually working, like the Microsoft one. And the other ones are working. It's just Widevine because it's crap.
Okay, it's not ARM and it's crap. Okay, the second one is about our OTA6, and maybe it's also interesting. Tartan Spartan wants to know if we are already able with OTA6 to bring the Morph browser up to par with what was the standard from Oxide, because he is afraid that some users cannot upgrade without having a stable and reliable workhorse browser.
To be honest, I would say it's already there. At least the Devil version is pretty damn close. I would say in many areas it's even better, especially the browser side of things. Watching YouTube videos, for example, it's much more smooth and enjoyable on Morph than it was on Oxide. So
I would also say let's see what OTA6 brings us to. We still have a few small things open there in the other bug tracker. You cannot see this on the OTA6 milestone, to be honest. That's also a complication of our GitHub thingy, that we have the the milestone in the main project, but the Morph browser runs in a separate repository with separate issues, so we cannot link them directly to the milestone, which is OTS6. So OTS6 is very empty, but some of the things are tracked somewhere else. Sorry for the confusion, but I think the final outcome for the OTS6 browser will be already quite decent. Okay, then we are jumping back. Any news about new ports? The pad ubports.com/porting devices has not been updated for some time. Does that mean there is no progress? That's a good one. There is a progress. We have the Sony Xperia. Which one is it? Z?
X.
XYZ. Maybe Fredel is online, then he will help me. I think it's X, yes. Z.
No, it's X.
Okay, the X is coming. I don't know. My mind is a little bit weird with all these phones. So, no, I would say the new ports, because we are doing a lot on Halium. Stefano, you should look there what's going on. And I don't know if the pad is still being maintained. Do you know about the pad?
Yeah, I have it open. It seems maintained.
Okay, cool.
And we have, let me just list them quite quickly here. HTC 10, OnePlus 3, OnePlus 5, Xiaomi Redmi 2, Xiaomi Mi 3, Gemini PDA, OnePlus 2, Samsung Galaxy Z5, Aquarius, BQ Aquarius U+, Sony Z5, and all the Kasakami-based Sony devices. Samsung S3 Neo, Sony Xperia X, Xiaomi Redmi 3S and 3S Prime, Moto G+, Samsung Galaxy Prime, Moto Nexus 5, Xiaomi Redmi 5 Plus, and Motorola G5 Play. So all in all, quite a lot of devices actually coming up. And with Treble experiments going on, I expect even more. It's all fine and beauty. I lost my train of thought there, but it's all fine and dandy. It's all bright future, is what.
Yes, the future is bright and there is progress, but unfortunately, Stefano, there is nothing coming now where we say all the features work and it's totally perfect. But there are some candidates that are really close to being a good community device. Yeah, especially that the Sony has been dropped now, brought some attention again to porting. So let's see what happens before Christmas. Who knows? I'm waiting for a Christmas present, maybe. Okay, now let's rush it a little bit because we have a little bit less time now. Any news about the foundation? This is the question that comes up maybe every week now. And I must say, we already talked about this last week, I think. No, there are no substantial news. However, the progress or the process is progressing. We are more or less dealing with authorities about this, and we still cannot say what is the expected time of arrival. There is no official, they don't give us any promise by which time they approve or deny or whatsoever. So you have to keep patient with this one. We are also very impatient. We also want progress for the foundation, but it's still a little bit, let's say, bureaucratic stuff. And we're all technicians. We don't like bureaucratic stuff so much. So
greetings from Germany.
Yes, it's in Berlin. I mean, this is the headquarters of the bureaucracy, or what? Okay, then there's a last big one. There's two questions inside. The one is from Total Sonic and from MATV1. If we have already received the Purism Librem 5 dev ports, and we can say no. Will UT get one or more of them? And we can say perhaps.
Yeah.
But what else is inside? These are more than one question. I think we shift a little bit for the next Q&A. So MATV, your next two questions, I will carry on to the next 2 weeks because we don't want to have too much overtime. So
I can take one. We're going quickly here about Linux on DeX.
Yes,
it's an interesting project. I don't expect it to really affect us very much since it's not what the goal that we want to try to achieve. This is following the idea of Ubuntu on Android, which was a project from a long time ago from Canonical. and it's resurfacing right now. And it's basically just an Android phone that puts out on desktop when you connect it to like not on fully desktop. Like we want to create a converged experience where you have the same desktop being the same desktop on your phone, being the same desktop as you use on Converge, and being the same applications, and the application scales really nicely and all that. This is basically just an Ubuntu desktop coming up with Ubuntu applications, and when you unplug it, you go back to Android and have your Android applications. So it's not really something we want to care too much about, but maybe Unity 8 would be interesting to try on it. But then again, it doesn't really fit what we try to achieve. Again, we try also to achieve a privacy operating system, and Samsung is far from that.
That's true, yeah. So, but I think it's good that people talk about it, because Samsung explains from that their vision is more or less to have something more than a mobile device. So we can hook into this and we can use it for our, let's say, a little bit marketing strategy to say, okay, look, even a big vendor wants to have a device for the desktop in some weird way that is not compatible with us, but we want to make it like this and this. So I always see a lot of marketing potential with big companies announcing this, because people will start talking about it. Yeah, super. So this was Dex. This was a question from the live chat. Those long ones we shift. Yeah, we are. And then there was one question from Luis about the Unity 8 shell bug. Unfortunately, we have a new policy here. Sorry, Luis, we don't talk about bugs here. Means we don't talk about when a certain bug will be fixed, because we just don't commit for that. We cannot. It would start some kind of jealous bug racing, who asks for his bug first, and so on and so on. And also, we don't, in general, give any timelines for when a bug is being fixed. Or you can pay us a few developers per month, then maybe. And that must be good ones. So don't just come with $100. Okay, cool. So yes, this was a great one. Mm-hmm. Jonathan, any last words from your side before you leave to southern, eastern, or western Germany?
No, thank you for inviting me here.
Okay, maybe we can shout out for the ubuntuusers.de webpage, where you're also writing articles and stuff. And it's still great that even on this page, while they are not related with us, there are so many articles about Ubuntu Touch.
Yeah, we need help there. I might shout out that. Some of the articles are still from canonical times, and they will really need to be reworked. So if anyone from the German community would like to do that, please get your hands on that and rework the articles.
The address is ubuntuusers.de. Just create an account and start going. And they have a great forum also.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Marius, famous last words?
Famous last words. Hello, Jan and friends.
Oh, there was a last question I did not see. It is popping up on the bottom now. We take this also for the next Q&A. Unfortunately, the time is over. Preston, see you in 2 weeks. Come back. Then we will answer you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hello to Jan. Hello to Dalton. Sorry that you cannot be here. We miss you a lot. And yeah, that was the Q&A number 40 for UBports and Ubuntu Touch development. Yeah. Then
have a great day, and remember to leave the like button, subscribe, and also check us out on social media, on Twitter and Mastodon.
Oh damn! Yeah, where is the sentences from Dalton? We have to write it down next time. He can say this perfectly here. You can find us on Twitter,
Mastodon, Google Plus is shutting down.
Is Google Plus still on? Okay,
Diaspora,
Diaspora, Telegram, Matrix, and you can also check our website. You can also, on the bottom of the website, you can see all the social media. But yeah, see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.